All right. Yo, yo, yo. What's good, everyone? It is your boy Lincoln Clay coming back at you with another live stream. The Godfather of Gaming, the Ageless Wonder. What is good, everybody? You know what to do. Hit the like button, hit the bell icon. The rest will take care of itself. If you're new to the channel, welcome aboard. So, as a lot of you know, I bought a Jamal Adams. What is up? What's going on with you, my friend? Hopefully I sound all right. You know, it's I'm off work today. I took the day off, try to get caught up on some rest. I'm getting ready to head to the gym here after this podcast is over, but I'm keeping my voice down a little bit because it's quiet as a church mouse in this apartment complex, and this place has really thin walls, so I don't want to make I don't want to get loud and animated and that kind of stuff. So hopefully you guys can hear me clearly. If you cannot hear me clearly, let me know, and I will turn the gain up on the microphone. And I am sitting a little bit closer to the microphone as well, so hopefully you guys can hear me just fine. So again, if you can't hear me, if you can't hear me clearly, let me know. So as I was saying, about almost 3 weeks ago, most of you know I bought a gaming PC. And right in the middle of checking out and purchasing the PC, I thought about it. I said, should I buy an Oculus Rift right now while I'm already here? Because I'm thinking to myself, you know you want it. You're going to come back and get it. Why not just go ahead and buy it now? But I was cooking up every excuse in the book not to buy the Oculus Rift, at least not at that moment. And I finally, I found an excuse not to buy it that day. And it actually ended up being a good reason, in my opinion. If I thought about it, I said, damn, while I'm sitting up here dropping $1,400 for this computer, I thought to myself, since, the majority of the gaming that I was going to do on this computer was going to be VR gaming, I thought to myself, you probably better make sure that the Oculus is compatible with this PC. So I took the PC home, and as soon as I got home, I didn't even open the box yet. I went straight to my phone, Googled it, did some research, and wanted to make sure that the Oculus Rift would be compatible with my PC, which it was. So I said, okay, then I'll go out this weekend, because I think I bought the computer on a Thursday. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, this weekend I'll go back to Best Buy and get an Oculus Rift on Thursday. For Saturday, I'm sorry. So so I hopped in the car, drove out to the Best Buy where I bought the PC from, and they were sold out of the Oculus Rift. And so they said, we can check some nearby Best Buys for you. So they checked another one that was probably like 5 or 6 miles away on the other end of town. They didn't have one. And so they widened their search. And then the closest one that had an Oculus Rift was in East Lansing, which is about an hour away from where I live. That's not a big deal because, when I go to pick my son up, from his home, that is about an hour drive, damn close to it. So driving for about an hour wasn't the issue. The issue is that my son was at home, and I didn't want him to, sit around for 2 hours waiting for me to get back, an hour there and an hour back. So I didn't go. I just decided I'll wait until I get some more in. And then when I left, I did some more Googling, and I was trying to find out what other retailers carry the Oculus Rift where you can just walk in and buy it. Nobody in my area that I know of. Best Buy is the only retailer that I know of where you can just walk into the store and pick up an Oculus Rift. So, you can order it from Newegg. You can order it from the Walmart website. You can order it from Best Buy. And when I went to the Walmart website, it was absolutely crazy. They were selling the Oculus Rift through a third party, and those things was going for almost $600. One of them was like $460, another one was like $579, through third party. And I said, I'm absolutely not fucking with Walmart buying shit through a third party because Walmart is good at giving you your money back. But when it comes to the warranties and shit like that, you go through a third party, and I'm not trying to do that shit. In the case of Best Buy, with their warranty, you drop it off to them and then let them do what they got to do. What they do from there, I don't care. All I care about is I bought it from you. I got a problem with it. I'm bringing it back to you. You fix it. In the case of Walmart, with this third party shit, you buy something from them and it breaks down, then you got to contact that third party and then go through a bunch of bullshit with them. I'm not trying to fuck with them like that. And when it comes to warranties, I think Best Buy is one of the best people to deal with. Because I don't care, like in the case of my computer, I think it's already, I checked on it. It's in transit right now. I think it's in transit, being sent to the service center. All I give a fuck about is that the computer comes back functioning. So if Best Buy would have, I can tell you this. If I was going to buy that PC and Best Buy would have offered me a warranty where I would have had to go through a third party in case something goes wrong, I wouldn't have bought the PC from them. I would have had to do a lot of research to find out which retailer has the best warranty. So anyway, got off the tracks a little bit, but what was that? But Best Buy was the only retailer that I know of where you can actually walk inside and pick up an Oculus Rift. And so today, I went out to go pay, on my Best Buy. I went out to pay on my Walmart card and on my Target card. So I walked through the electronics section of both of those retailers, and the only thing I saw was an Oculus Go at Walmart, which, if I'm not mistaken, the main focus of Oculus Go is for you to see the outside world in virtual reality. I don't think it's that much of a gaming headset. So I have no interest in an Oculus Go. But as a lot of you know, the Oculus Quest is coming up in spring this year. So as far as I'm concerned, it could be this. I doubt that it would be this month, but I'm thinking it could be next month, May, or I think in June at the latest. Because to me, that's spring. I consider that spring. If you say it's coming in spring of 2019 and you launched the shit in September, no, you didn't launch the shit in spring. So I mean that I take that literally. You say spring, that's exactly what it means to me, that you're going to release it in March, April, May, and possibly early June, because those are the months that are considered spring. So anyway, I'm thinking to myself that Oculus is trying to accomplish what Microsoft has been trying to accomplish this whole generation. And that is to appeal to the mainstream audience, to try to appeal to the casual gamer. I don't have a problem with that. But I think in the case of Oculus, in order for that to happen, that the Oculus Quest needs to be available at as many retailers as possible and not be a situation where it's a Best Buy exclusive. Because not a lot of people don't shop at Best Buy. Anybody who shops at Best Buy is looking for some electronic shit. Anybody who walks into Walmart or Target, God knows what they might be looking for, but it still needs to be on the shelf of those kind of retailers. In the case of use it might not be a good comparison, but the Xbox One, when it first launched this generation, we already know that Microsoft was trying to capture the casual gamer. And they thought that they could do it with this TV shit. I don't know how they thought they were going to capture the casual gamer with a $500 console. I don't know what made Microsoft think that the casual gamer would want to see TV from a different perspective so bad that they'd be willing to pay $500 for it, on top of the cable bill that they already paid for. So I think in the case of Microsoft, I don't really think there was so much of a big deal with them forcing you to take the Kinect, but that I think that price tag was the biggest thing that hurt them in terms of trying to capture the casual gamer, because the casual gamer didn't know shit about digital rights management. They didn't know shit about that. They didn't know about how buggy the Xbox was when it first launched. They didn't know about, games being in 720p on the Xbox One and being 1080p on the PlayStation. The casual gamer didn't know about that petty shit that a lot of us get caught up in with this console war shit. The only thing they know is price. When a casual gamer finally gets on board with something, they're not getting on board with it because they saw something amazing. They got on board with it because the price was cheap enough that it would be a small risk. It would be, minimal out-of-pocket cost. I think Sony to some extent was an exception to the rule. I mean, the PlayStation jumped straight out of the blocks and just kept building momentum through the years and shit like that. But at this point in the generation, a lot of the casual gamers that bought PlayStations probably bought it because of the price, and they probably sought out the advice of somebody they know that owns both consoles. Sarah's is great. What is going on with you? So I think in the case of the Oculus Quest, I've already said that before. I have a vested interest to see this thing succeed, to see this thing succeed, because when I was telling everybody that I wanted to see the PlayStation VR grow, which it did, they're the market leader, I wasn't just speaking for the PlayStation VR. I was speaking for VR in general. And for the, because VR is, kind of facing that challenge from people who don't know shit about it, saying that it's niche. It's just a niche. It's not gonna last. It's just, a trend. It's, whatever. I think VR is going to grow, but to the casual gamer, whenever they get involved with VR, price is always going to be the issue. I think somebody who doesn't really fuck with video games or something like that isn't going to just jump up and say, okay, I'm going to go buy a $1,500 PC. I'm going to go buy a $600 headset. No, they're probably going to go somewhere and buy a $30 headset where they can slide their phone into the headset and do it that way. If they like it, then they might move on to something a little more serious. But I think when they take their first dip in the VR, price is going to be a big issue. Shit, take me for instance. When it comes to smartphones, I'm not into that shit with, iPhones and Galaxies. I'm not trying to spend $700, $800, $900, $1,000 for a fucking phone. That's outrageous. But there are some people who are hardcore into that shit that's going to be there to buy that shit day one. As time goes on, for the iPhone and Galaxies to appeal to other people, price is going to be a big issue. Price isn't going to come down on those phones until the next iteration of those phones come out. I bought an LG Stylo 3. And I paid $150 for it. Not a bad phone. It's a big phone too. And I only use about 10% of the features on that phone. The little notepad, texting, watching videos, the camera, all that kind of shit. And the crazy part about it is a lot of these people who spend $1,000 on these fucking iPhones, to me, a lot of them is like airheaded women who all they do with the fucking phone is use it to filter their pictures. They use it to post pictures of themselves wearing dog ears and a red, and a red nose and, pink cheeks and shit like that, and face looking all powdery, and they look nothing like the actual selves, So who the fuck will spend $1,000 on a phone so they can put up filtered pictures and deceive people? But it is people out there like that. Anybody after that wave of people, anybody who wants the iPhone or the Galaxy and shit like that, price is going to come into play. So when it comes to smartphones, I'm not into smartphones like that, but a lot of people would say that I'm crazy for the money that I invest in video games. I dropped that $2,000 on that PC and on that Oculus Rift. Some people will say I'm crazy for that I could have bought a car for that. That's me. Same thing with the phones. Whatever little reasons they want to buy an iPhone or a Galaxy, that's them. But if you're not a person who's deep into that shit and you're thinking about taking a dip into that shit, if you're an outsider looking in and you're thinking about fucking with that shit, price is going to be the issue. So in the case of this Oculus Quest, they want to try to appeal to people who don't fuck with VR. So when it comes to that, we already know price is going to be one issue. The Oculus Quest is going to launch at $400, which I don't think is a bad price. But I think $300 would be the sweet spot. I think, $300 would be a more enticing price. And I think $300 would be a great price for the Oculus Quest, because you're getting a Oculus Rift, sort of an Oculus Rift type performance, with a few limitations, without the PC and without wires. With that being said, not only price, availability, I think is going to be a huge issue. Because there are some people out there who will, buy something just like all of a sudden at the drop of a dime, just jump up and buy something. And I think the more places that they see that Oculus Quest shining in their faces, the more, the higher probability that they may just jump up and buy it out of the wild blue. I think anybody who, if they let the Oculus Quest be exclusive to Best Buy, anybody who comes in there and buys an Oculus Quest from Best Buy, chances are they were zeroed in on the Oculus Quest to begin with. And then I think, a place like Walmart that stays open 24 hours, hell, you might get somebody who might be feeling like VR in the middle of the night and could possibly walk into Walmart at 2 a.m. You say, let me get that Oculus Quest. It could happen. That's exactly how I bought my Xbox. My very first Xbox, I bought it in the middle of the night. Shenmue 2, you know, because I didn't want to fuck with the original Xbox when it came out, because I was like mad that the Dreamcast had shut down. And I was like, fuck everybody else. I can't stand Sony and whoever this Microsoft is, fuck them. You know, that was my thought process. And then Shenmue 2 was out. Shenmue 2, you know, I was fiending to play that game because I love the first Shenmue. So I finally had to break down. So it was like I was up in the middle of the night. I remember it like it was yesterday. And I was like, I already played Shenmue. I don't feel like playing it through again. I said, I'm ready to see what the next story is about. So I got up at about 2 a.m. and went to Myers. They stay open 24 hours. And I bought an Xbox with that big ass Duke controller. And the thing about it is, when I bought that Xbox, it had been sitting in that case for God knows how long. Because by the time I bought that Xbox, Microsoft had already redid the controller. So I remember when I bought that Xbox, one of my friends that had an Xbox, he had a newer model Xbox that had the redesigned controller, but he wanted the Duke. So he asked me if I wanted to trade. I said, fuck yeah, give me that smaller controller. Fuck this big ass tank. Take this shit. So again, getting back to my point is that if you make Oculus Quest available at all retailers, who's to say you won't sell a couple of them in the middle of the night if it's a retailer that stays open 24 hours? So that is pretty much the moral of that story. If you want this thing to sell to people who haven't tried VR before, then I think one of the best chances of that happening is to make it available everywhere. Needs to be available at Target, needs to be available at Walmart, and whatever other local chains this sells electronics in your town. With the Oculus Rift, I can understand. I somewhat understand Best Buy being the only. Well, I'll put it this way: the Oculus Rift, in my opinion, should be available at more than just Best Buy, but it should probably only be available at retailers that do sell gaming computers. Because what would be the point of putting Oculus Rift at a retailer who doesn't sell gaming PCs? Now, in the case of the Oculus Quest, that's totally different because you don't need a PC and there's no wires, and it's trying to appeal to people who haven't tried VR or don't have a VR headset. So if you're trying to appeal to those people, you need to make it available to the places that they would normally shop and not make it a situation where they have to be zeroed in to come and get it. Anybody who shops at Best Buy, they are zeroed in at Best Buy. A lot of people don't just shop at Best Buy randomly. They go to Best Buy to get something because they have been wanting something for a while. Whereas a place like Target or something like that sells groceries, clothes, and a bunch of other shit, you might get lucky enough and get a few of them to buy something out of Target, out of Walmart. PLO, he said, I still think $150 to $200 is the real sweet spot. Hey, I agree 100%, but I didn't want to be, I thought that might be being a little harsh. Even $300 is too much for unproven to the masses hardware platforms. I agree 100%. I think also is gonna I agree. $200 would be a real sweet spot. I also think that in addition to a $200 price point, I think also in addition to making this thing available everywhere, you got to market the shit out of it, not just like do little rinky-dink YouTube ads. You got to put this shit. I think you got to make commercials for this shit and like throw this shit, like have commercial spots like right in the middle of Monday Night Football or some kind of shit, right in the middle of this goofy ass Oxygen channel and shit like that. You know, it's like they gotta have this shit everywhere. They gotta advertise the shit out of it. When I bought my PC, um, the kind of PC that I bought, you guys seen the PC, even though it was a pre-built PC, it was still a decent PC. That's not the kind of PC you could just buy anywhere. I was zeroed in on buying something at Best Buy. Now, if that kind of PC would have been available anywhere, I can't say that I would have bought it at Best Buy. It would have all depended on the warranty of where I was getting it from. If I would have, if this PC would have been available anywhere and somebody would have had a better warranty policy than Best Buy, I might have bought it from somewhere other than Best Buy. And I'm a person that can get up at any given moment. Top Dog, you said 400 doesn't seem that bad for what you get. I agree. But I am saying that I think at $400, especially if you make this Oculus Quest only available at Best Buy, is going to get off to a very slow start. I think if you, and I said this when I first talked about it, I think it will pick up steam once it gets to about $300. Because look at the Oculus, look at the Oculus Rift. The first year that the PlayStation VR was out, it sold I think it sold like 950,000 units. The first year it was out. And that was, and that did not meet Sony's expectations. It underperformed. But despite that, it still sold more than Oculus and Vive combined. Oculus and Vive struggled, in my opinion. But now that Oculus is down to $300, it's hard to get them now. Top Dog, I get 100% what you're saying. The Quest is wireless with better controls and inside-out tracking. For the money, I think you're getting a great device. But you are trying to appeal to a crowd who doesn't normally fuck with VR. So the first thing they're going to see is price. I mean, shit, take a look at the PS3, for instance. You were getting a deal. Even at $600, you were getting a deal because the Blu-ray was new technology. And Blu-ray players were costing $700, $800, $900. But you could get a Blu-ray player from a PS3 for $600, along with that being a gaming console. But people didn't see that. All they saw was that $600 price tag. I mean, that's just the way it is when you're trying to appeal to a demographic that doesn't normally get too involved in what you're offering. Price is going to be the first thing that jumps out at them. For the casual gamer who just now got around to buying an Xbox One for $300 or $250 or whatever they called it on sale, do you think some of those same people would have bought an Xbox One when it first launched at $500? The price is going to be the first. Price is going to be the first thing the casual person sees. Yeah, PLO. You said Paramount. Advertising will be paramount, but not just commercial. It needs to be shown into the collective consciousness via TV shows, movies, even non-VR games. VR needs a collective major push. I agree. Not just YouTube, not just Twitch. They need to advertise this shit everywhere. When you stop and think about it, if memory serves me right, when it comes to the advertising aspect of it, at the beginning of the generation, I think there was way more. I think there was more advertising from Sony advertising the PlayStation than Microsoft advertised the Xbox. You know, I think at the beginning of the generation, I saw so many commercials that said greatness awaits. I remember when they did that commercial that was supposed to be like a parody of I think of Elder Scrolls, where the two guys were fighting with the shields and the maces and the swords and shit like that, and they were singing, um, even though they were fighting each other. I remember that Greatness Awaits commercial. That commercial had me laughing my ass off. And again, I remember seeing so many Greatness Awaits commercials and not that many of them. It doesn't, yeah, Sony did their part. Now it's time for the rest of them. But I remember seeing way more Greatness Awaits commercials at the beginning of the generation than Xbox One commercials. Well, all that stuff is going to come into play for the Oculus Quest. VR will always be hard to sell for the foreseeable future to casual consumers. I think anything is a hard sell to casual people because, casual people are not committed to anything. I mean, everybody's committed to something in terms of what their hobby is, but to try to appeal to people that don't normally, mess around with that, that's going to be a hard sell. An iPhone is going to be a hard seller to me because I'm not a hardcore phone person like that. I just need the thing to make a damn call, and I needed to make a text message. And that's about it. Yeah, the camera's great and shit like that, but shit, if it came down to it, if smartphones didn't have a camera, if I knew I was going to be at an event where pictures were going to be taken, I would grab my dinosaur ass digital camera and bring it there with me. But selling, there's, at $1,000, there's no, at $1,000, there's no way Apple's going to sell me a phone. Now, I mean, by the time whatever this year's Apple phone is, by the time it comes down to $300, it's probably going to be 3, 4, 5 years old. And they might deliberately tank the phone and make some of the features inoperative in order to force you to upgrade. With that being said, I would just buy a cheaper phone that's more up to date. You said the problem is they are selling to tech people when they need to sell to people. Say, hey, Apple VR. What's up, Players United? So yeah, it's like I don't care what the product is you're selling. When you're trying to take that product to the next level and take it beyond your normal demographic, you have to appeal to them with price. I mean, you said Google VR. Hey, I don't know if Google is in VR or not. I wouldn't be surprised if there is. There is a market for it. If they're going to make this hard push into the gaming market the way they are now, where they brought out a controller and they're supposedly getting ready to introduce a console, I would like to think that they would want to get involved in VR, but realistically, can this shit work streaming? Can you stream in VR? We're already questioning whether it will work on a console, but would it work on a VR headset? Where I think you need at least 60 frames per second per eye. So you need like 120 frames per second in order not to get motion sick. flat out, especially when it comes to Microsoft's lying ass. As far as Microsoft making this streaming shit work, I believe it when I see it. So the way things are sitting right now, I do not think that this shit will work the way they are advertising it when it first gets off the ground. Therefore, there's no way you can make me believe that Microsoft can make streaming from a VR headset work. I just don't believe it. With that being said, I know, Google got a big hand in that shit, but I just, as far as the streaming and stuff like that, and Amazon's supposed to be getting involved in this shit too. You said, I think another major hurdle is the fact that VR doesn't have any practical applications to the casual market like smartphones do. Well, with the Oculus Quest, I would like to think that you'd be able to buy games right there from the headset. I would like to think that the Oculus Quest has internet access to the Oculus Store, and you would be able to buy games right there inside the headset. I would like to think that that would be the case. But you make a really good point, because when it comes to a lot of these cheap ass $10 headsets that you find at Walmart or Big Lots or some shit like that, that you slide your phone into these headsets, the first thing pops into my head is, what about the fucking games? You said, but that's entertainment. I'm talking outside of that. So, I mean, but we all agree, though, that in order for the Oculus Quest to appeal to the casual person, it's got to be available everywhere, not just at Best Buy. The price has got to be right, and they're going to need some major advertising. I think in the case of like the PlayStations and Xboxes and shit like that, they've been around so long that this late into the generation, you don't need a trillion Xbox commercials and PlayStation commercials. I think a commercial here and there just to remind people that it's there. And even the casual people know that the two major players when it comes to console games is Microsoft and Sony. So they already, I'm sure a lot of those people probably say to themselves, I'll probably go pick up one when it gets a little bit cheaper. It says there's more you can do than just games in VR. Sports events, concerts. Oh yeah. I mean, on the PlayStation Store, I think they have an app, Next VR, where you can watch NBA games in virtual reality. I've gone to YouTube and seen highlights of a football game in VR, of an NFL football game. I think it was a game with the Detroit Lions. I think they might have been playing against the New York Jets. I'm not sure, but it was pretty cool to see it in VR. So yeah, you're absolutely right. There's so much more you can do than games in VR. But you got to get people into VR for them to see that. I hate to say it, there's a lot of freaky ass people out there that watch porn. How many of them would buy a VR headset if they found out you could watch porn in VR? But you got to get that out there to them for them to know that. And I think that's where the advertising comes in. So in the case of the Oculus Quest, if you have access to apps like YouTube and VR and all that kind of stuff, if they go advertise that, they got to let everybody know that you can do more than just play games in VR, that you can, see the deck of a cruise ship in VR or something like that. Look out and see that blue water or whatever the case may be. Let them know that they can do that in VR too. So, but you got to get the word out. So, but before I move on to the next subject, there is one huge question mark for me. I have no intentions of buying the Oculus Quest, being that I own the Oculus Rift and the PlayStation VR. There is a little bit of a trade-off with the Oculus Quest. I guess it does display in 1440p, which is better than the 1080p that you'll see out of the PlayStation VR and the Oculus Rift. But because a PC is supplying the power to the Oculus Rift, I guess colors and details and stuff like that are better through the Rift. So I guess that's your trade-off, in terms of colors and lightings and cell shading and all that kind of shit. I guess that's a little bit, I guess you're giving up a little bit right there with the Oculus Quest. But the biggest looming question to me is, can you game online with this thing being wireless? If you can get to a Wi-Fi spot, can you game online? Can you play a multiplayer game? And even if you can, how would it perform being that it's connected to Wi-Fi? Because I'm still a firm believer that there's no better connection than a hardwired connection. A hardwired connection beats Wi-Fi every day of the week. I don't care how fast your connection is. If you got 100 megs down, if you got two internet connections that are 100 megs down, one is Wi-Fi and the other one is hardwired, the hardwired one is going to perform better. So that would be a big looming question to me. But I think if the Oculus Quest can sell to the casual person, I don't think they're going to be that worried about being able to game online in the beginning. I think if they ever reach a point where they want to game online, then at that point, they'll probably understand that they'll probably have to upgrade to something a little bit better. But I think the Oculus Quest would be a good VR headset to introduce people to VR and them not having to, spend $1,500 for a computer powerful enough to push the Rift or the Vive. So with that being said, you said you should be able to. It has a 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi connection. Yeah, but again, it's a Wi-Fi connection. So how's it going to perform? But if it does do that, let me not be too negative. If you can't game online with the Oculus Quest, that's an added bonus. So let's go on to the next subject, and that's about the PlayStation VR. Getting straight to it, I think it's time for another permanent price cut with the PlayStation VR. I think the PlayStation VR costs $350. If you get the bundle with the Move controllers. If you get the PlayStation VR without the Move controllers, that's $300. I think this late into the generation, it's time for them to cut the price. If you want to sell some more of these, I think the time is now for them to go ahead and make a permanent price cut that's more enticing. Because look, as I said before, the PlayStation VR with the Move controllers is $350. The Oculus Rift is $350. I'm being honest. the Rift is a better headset because it's a PC headset. Games look a little bit better. There's a much wider library, but so I'll put it to you this way: if somebody had a PlayStation and they had a gaming PC capable of running the Oculus, and they were to ask me which headset I should get, I would probably tell them to get the Oculus. Not only because you've got a gaming PC that's more powerful than your PlayStation, but because of the Oculus Store in Steam, you're going to have way more options when it comes to games. So with that being said, if you already have a PC, the Oculus Rift is a better buy. Now, for somebody who has a PlayStation and doesn't have a PC, then yeah, the obvious answer is the PlayStation VR. But if you want to move, if Sony really wants to move some more of these PlayStation VR, now's the time to go ahead and cut the price. We are nearing the end of the generation. People already know that the PlayStation 5 is right around the corner. People are going back and forth about when it's going to release. I had said for the longest that I thought it was going to release in November of 2019. I mean, the way things are looking, I'm probably going to end up being wrong, but I still believe that November of 2019 makes the most sense when they should release the PS5. You know, I've gone through that 1,000 times, you know, in terms of the Christmas crowd, the Black Friday crowd, and even the tax return crowd, the people who get the tax returns. I still think November of 2019 makes the most sense for them to release that console. And if you can get in front of Xbox, you could deliver a telling blow to Microsoft. I think Microsoft, you know, Microsoft already made the first move by getting ready to release this diskless console, this all digital console, rumored to be releasing in May of 2019. So where I'm going with this, you know, I know I'm going off the tracks a little bit, but everybody knows that the end of the generation is near. Some people think that the new consoles will launch in November. Some of them think that the PS5 will launch in around March of 2020. That's neither here and there. That's not that important. The one thing we all agree on is that we are near the end of the generation. And I've even people in my podcast I've talked to that are thinking about dipping into VR are saying that they'll wait until the next generation. If those people right there that I just spoke of, if you want to get one of them to buy a PlayStation VR, knock that price down now. You might be able to make 2 sales out of it. I know Sony wouldn't do that, but if they knock that price of the PlayStation VR down to a permanent price of $200, they would fly off the fucking shelves. You can make 2 sales if you do it like that. You can get a bunch of people to buy the PlayStation VR, and if they like it and they stay committed to it, then you can get them to purchase the PlayStation VR 2 when it launches day one. The time is now to cut that price. But, you know, you still think we aren't getting PSVR until about 2 years after PS5 is launched. I think there's a strong possibility that you're right. I thought maybe a year after, but yeah, 2 years is still 2 years is still logical. Myself, I think they need to launch that headset day and date with the console if they want this thing to grow. Right now, during this current generation, right now, the PSVR launched in October of 2016. Last we checked, they were sitting around 5 million headsets sold. So the PlayStation VR came out 3 years after the console launched. But we're sitting on 5 million PlayStation VR sold, give or take. How many headsets do you think we would be sitting on right now if it had launched day and date with the console, and they would have dropped the price of the VR headset at a reasonable rate. So what if that PlayStation VR would have launched in 2013 alongside the console, and then here today you have a permanent price of maybe say $250? How many VR headsets would we be sitting on right now? I think what Sony's going to end up doing is probably try to, I think they're still going to have occasional sales, which is cool. They're still going to have occasional sales of the PlayStation VR, but I think ultimately what's going to happen is they're not going to make a permanent price cut of the PlayStation VR until they officially announce the PlayStation VR 2, which I think would be a huge mistake. Because if there's people out there who's thinking about getting into VR, so let's say somebody's thinking about buying a PlayStation VR today, and out of the wild blue, Sony comes out and makes an announcement and says that the PlayStation VR 2 will be out in March of 2020. That person that might have been thinking about buying a VR today is not going to buy it because they may possibly decide to wait until the PlayStation VR 2 comes out, when you could have got them, when you could have hit them twice. You drop the PlayStation VR down to a permanent price of $250, you can get them now. You can get a bunch of people to get on board with it and buy it now. Even if you knock it down to $200, you can get a bunch of people to jump up and get on board with it now. And then you can hit them again when the PSVR 2 launches. El Matador, what is up? PLO, you said the thing is PSVR 1 will get a bump from the PS5. Launching both out at the same time would not be feasible due to price. A new system with a new VR together would likely be $1,000. Yeah, this is true. But if you launch the PS5 at $500, and then 3 years later, you launch the PSVR 2 at $500, expect it to get off at a slow start. I think if you launch the two together, I mean, if you not together in terms of bundled, but I mean, if you launch them within a reasonable time frame of each other, you launch the PSVR first. I mean, you launch the PS5 first, and then maybe launch the PSVR 2 maybe 6 months later. Yeah, that VR is going to get off to a slow start, but for let's say that when the PS5 comes out, Sony is probably going to plan on the PSVR, the PlayStation 5 format, to run for about 7-8 years. They probably going to run it that far before they move on to the next console. So what I'm saying is, if they plan for the PS5 to have a lifespan of about 7 years, and then they introduce the next iteration of the VR 3 years into the life of the PS5, that's 3 years worth of sales you've thrown away, as far as I'm concerned. Just like what we're dealing with now. Sony's thrown away, I ain't going to say they threw away 3 years worth of sales. Because, you know, the console launched in 2013 and the VR came out in 2016. I'm not going to say that Sony threw away 3 years worth of sales, because I don't know if it was a situation where the timing of when they decided to get this thing in motion, and this is when 2016 is when it happened to come out. I'm not sure that was in the cards for Sony to launch the console in 2013 and then the VR 3 years later. I don't kind of think they plan to do it that way, but nonetheless, that's the way it turned out. And I still can't help but to wonder how many more headsets they would have sold if they would have launched the VR unit in 2000, launched it right alongside the console, or maybe, 6 months after the console launched. I can't help but to wonder how many more headsets they would have sold if they would have been able to add 2.5 years to the lifespan of the VR unit. You said Christopher Hart, yes, Sony needs to keep the momentum of PSVR to PSVR 2 by lowering the price of the current PSVR and launching the PSVR 2 with PS5. I agree wholeheartedly. Sony is in the lead in the VR market right now. But we know that the ultimate goal is for them to expand. You know, everybody wants to do that. If they, you know, if Sony breaks 100 million units with the PS4, you best believe they're going to have a goal of 120 million units with the PS5. That means that they're going to try to reach out to people next generation who didn't get one this generation. That means they're going to try to reach out to some casual gamers. You have to make it enticing for them. With that being said, we are nearing the end of the generation. Everybody knows that the PS5 is coming. Everybody knows that the PlayStation VR 2 is coming. Spartan God, what is up? If you want to sell more of the current PlayStation VR, Oculus is trash. I disagree, Spartan God. I like Oculus. I disagree. But if Sony wants to sell more of those, I mean, like the closer we get to the end of the generation, Sony even said it themselves that they expect sales to start to decline on the PS4 because we're nearing the end of the generation and they're wrapping up the generation. If you know that yourself, if you said that yourself, that we're nearing the end of the generation, if trying to sell as many consoles as possible is still important to you, it would probably be a good idea to knock a few dollars off of the console to appeal to somebody who wouldn't have bought it, say 2 years ago. There might be somebody out there right now that thinks $300 is too much for a PlayStation, but if you knock it down to $200, you might be able to entice them to buy it. Same here with the PlayStation VR. There are some people that might be curious about jumping into VR, but $350 is a little bit pricey for them right now. If you knock that shit down to $200 and make it a permanent price, sooner or later, I think that person will eventually get a PlayStation VR. You said, I can't lie. Sony's got everybody's nose wide open with Astrobot VR. Yeah. You said, to be honest, just wanted to replace the O with an L. All right, Spark God, I see you. You know, Top Dog, I saw that Astrobot was a good game. I was just surprised by how well it was received. You know, because of the glowing reviews that came out on Astrobot, they were calling it the Mario of VR. And you know, there was a few people who went out and bought a VR just for Astrobot. Said, I just want everybody to experience that underwater level with Astrobot where he falls on your face and hangs on. You said, PLO, you want Astrobot, but you're waiting for a sale? That's a tough one right there, PLO, because I'm wondering, sure, Sony did have it on sale, I think once or twice, but I don't think you'll see it be on sale so as frequent, probably because they're offering it as a bundle, and they might be using that game as bait to try to draw people in to buy a PlayStation VR. So, but, you know, again, you know, we're nearing the end of the generation. I'm willing to bet you right now there's a lot of people out there who have, you say, yeah, I missed the last one. I'm pissed. Yeah, I feel you. I'm willing to bet you right now there's a lot of people out there who have a PlayStation Slim, but they will not upgrade to a PlayStation Pro because they might be just sitting back and waiting for the PlayStation 5 to come out. Same thing here. We're nearing the end of the generation. I think if you want to move some PS4 Pros off the shelf, the time is now to knock that price down. Knock it down to 350, knock it down to 300, make that the permanent price. And you're going to move some more of those PlayStation Pros. Right now, the PS4 Pro is selling off of its reputation. Everybody who bought a PS4 Pro is somebody who upgraded from the PS4 Slim, and they seen enough of these exclusives come out with Spider-Man, God of War, and Detroit Become Human, and they've seen how amazing those games look, or they've heard how amazing those games look, and they know that those games, those first-party games on the PlayStation Pro look better than anything over on the Xbox, over on the Xbox. What's up, Entertainment Wizard? What's going on? So right now, the only people that's buying a PS4 Pro are people that's, the people that's ready to upgrade. But you'll move a lot more of them off the shelf if you knock the price down permanently to 350 or 300. It's late enough in the generation that they're making money. They got to be making money off the PlayStation VR. They got to be making money off the PlayStation, the PlayStation Slim, the PlayStation Pro. Is late enough in the generation. You can't tell me they're losing money in those consoles now. They're making money off of those consoles. So if you want to sell more of them, you're going to have to take a little bit of a hit and knock the price down a little bit. It's an Entertainment Wizard playing some Astrobot Rescue Mission. Great game. Absolutely. PLO, you bought a PS4 Pro and gave my OG to the kids. In my case, I bought the PS4. I bought the PSVR. I bought that day one because I knew that with that being a launch item, already knew that there was, supply was probably going to be low and it was going to be hard to get one. It was fucking crazy. When the PlayStation VR first came out, I bought it day one, and it ended up being the best move that I made. I paid $500 for it with the Move controllers because I saw no reason to buy it unless I was going to buy the whole shebang. I probably say about a week after I bought that PlayStation VR, they were hard to get. They were sold out everywhere. And I was seeing crazy shit happen. I was seeing people trying to scalp the fuck out of you on eBay, trying to sell these PlayStation VRs for $1,500. And then I go to the Walmart website and they were selling them for $1,100. How the fuck does a legitimate retailer like Walmart, mark a $500 peripheral up to $1,100? That was fucking crazy. Then in the case of the PS4 Pro, I bought that. I bought it day one, but I didn't buy it day one. I think what ended up happening was, I know what ended up happening. The day that the PS4 Pro released, I took the next day off. I took a vacation day for the next day off, and it was my plan to go buy it at midnight when it released at a retailer that was open 24 hours. I fell asleep and didn't get there at midnight. So as soon as I woke up, which was like 7 a.m, then I got up and went and bought it. You said, how do you think Walmart became worth $500 billion? Oh, shit. Well, it is what it is, Spartan God. So going back to the beginning of this podcast, I do hope Walmart is one of the retailers that's going to be carrying the Oculus Quest. So now as far as the PlayStation ecosystem goes, we are so far into the generation right now that anybody who wants a PlayStation Slim, a PlayStation 4 Pro, a PlayStation VR, anyone that wants one this late in the generation already has one. So again, if you want to take it beyond that and still get the people who don't have one and try to bring them into this ecosystem, price is the biggest enticer. Yes, PlayStation has the best exclusives, the most compelling games, but that only goes so far. There's some people out there who don't give a fuck about that. But there are some people who will give a fuck about a PlayStation costing $300 versus $200. You said you got that new PS4 Pro. It's so silent. I bought the PS4 Pro day one, PLO, and yes, that thing sounds like a fucking jet. I'll be the first one to tell you. That doesn't really bother me, especially when I'm playing VR, because with the earbuds and shit like that, you don't even hear that shit. The only time it even crossed my mind to get another PS4 Pro was when that translucent PS4 Pro came out to commemorate 50 million PlayStation 4s being sold. But that was $500, and I didn't want to drop the $500 for it. Now, if that translucent PS4 Pro were to turn up again, especially at $400, I might get it, because we're at the end of the generation. I'm not going to get much use out of it. It would basically be a collector's item, and it's probably just going to sit in my closet because I'm still going to keep my PS4 Pro. And as far as that goes, when the next generation starts, I plan to keep my PS4 Pro until I know for a fact that the PS5 is fully backwards compatible, and that the current PSVR will be compatible with the PS5. Until I know all of that shit, I'm hanging on to my PS4 Pro. All right, had to check a message. Sorry, folks, but yeah, that's about it. That's about all I got. So yeah, if the PS5 comes out now in the next 2 years and is fully backwards compatible, I'll switch it straight up for a PS5. Yeah, exactly. But I don't give a fuck. Like, if GameStop is still standing 2 years from now, or whatever the case may be, and they offer, they'll give you like $250 trade for your PS4 Pro or some shit like that, I'm not doing it unless I know for 100% fact. No, fuck that. I'm not doing it, because I'm not going to go without a console, because I actually ended up doing that. Now, with the PS4 Pro, here's what happened to me with my PS4 Pro. I sold my PS4 to a guy that I was working with. I sold it to him for $250, and I gave him a bunch of games with it. Now, the problem with that is that I didn't have a PlayStation for 2 weeks because I was waiting for the Pro to come out. I sold my PS4 2 weeks before the Pro came out, and so I didn't have a PlayStation. I didn't have a PlayStation to play on during that 2 week span. I had to rely on the fucking Xbox for my video games, to play video games in the meantime to get me through, which was lackluster because I really don't care for a lot of the third-party games out there, being a lot of them are incomplete and full of microtransactions and shit like that. And then with the lackluster or lack of games that the Xbox had. So the Xbox gave me minimal entertainment during that 2 weeks that I didn't have a PlayStation. So when I got that PlayStation Pro and I popped in that Ratchet and Clank and they got the update, you know, and they got the Pro patch, and I saw what that shit looked like, I was blown away. So you gotta love those Best Buy warranties. Hey, PLO, I mean, out of the major retailers, I still think that Best Buy has the best, you know, warranties. Because I said it before, like with Walmart, you could buy a warranty on the shit that you buy from them, but you have, if something goes wrong, you can't take it to Walmart. You have to send it to that third party. You have to send it to that third party that warranties the shit. And you know it's going to be a bunch of bullshit when you try to call them and go through all these fucking prompts, and they probably going to give you a runaround and shift you to this department, shift you to that department, and it's going to be a bunch of bullshit. You know, in the case of Best Buy, you take it there, tell them what's wrong with the shit, and they say, all right, you know, hand it over to the Geek Squad. We'll try to get it. We'll try to fix it. If we can't fix it, then we'll give you a new one. End of story. Entertainment Wizard, let's hope, assuming this Google console is real, that it supports physical discs. I could care less whether it supports physical discs or not. What I do care about is that you have a choice whether to stream or play your games locally. Because if this Google console is 100% streaming, there's no way I'm going to buy it. Based on what I, you know, like, I know, I haven't gone out of my way to dig too much into what's going on with this Google console because I really don't have any interest in buying a streaming console. But I did stumble across Zaire's video where he was saying that he said it works. And, you know, he was saying that to get optimal performance out of this Google console, you need an internet speed of 25 up and 25 down. But the minimum you need is 15 up and 15 down. That's crazy. Truth be told, like with my internet speed right now, I have 25 down. I don't know what my up speed is. Top dog, I could care less about a Google console. I'm only going PC and PS5. That's pretty much it. That's it. That is it. I have the gaming PC and I have the PS4 Pro. I'm good. I have the Xbox One S, but I don't use the shit. I just use it to watch YouTube. The console's useless. The only gaming that my Xbox One S gives me is that the console is in my bedroom. So it gives me a little bit of gaming from the comfort of my bedroom, maybe about 45 minutes before I get ready to go to bed. That's about all it can do for me. Entertainment Wizard, only possibly interested in the Google console if it has great exclusives. I'm sure they're going to figure that out. They know they can't jump into this shit without finding some way to try to entice people to pick the console up. So they're going to entice you with either the price or they're going to try to entice you with a bunch of exclusives. So that part about that, I'm not really that concerned about that. I'm concerned about whether, like I said, if the shit is 100% streaming, no, I'm not interested in it. If they make it like the PS4, where it is a traditional console that has streaming capabilities, the PS4 is a traditional console, but you can still stream from it. If they do something like that, then I might be interested in buying it. But straight streaming, fuck no. So now, if it's streaming, won't touch it exactly. So now, back to the situation with my current connection. I have 25 down. I'm not sure what my up speed is. I think my up speed might only be 3. Now I think Zaire says something like he got something like 300 up, 300 down, some shit like that. God only knows what that shit might cost a month. Right now, my internet connection is on a promo. I get my internet for $25 a month for 12 months. After that, it goes up to like $50 or some shit like that. So when it gets ready to run out, then I'm gonna approach, Comcast about another promo. But in the meantime, you said you got 100, you got over 100, you got 100 up and 100 down. Shit, see, okay. So let me go to where I'm going with this. I got 25 down. I think I got 20. I think I got 3 up. I really don't know what I got up. I'm just guessing. It could be 3, 5, maybe even 10. I'm not sure. Excuse me. I'm getting a little scratchy here. But you know what? Let me pull out my phone and look at some of the other packages they have right now. Instead of guessing, let me see it myself. Move or transfer services. Make a payment, manage billing preferences, manage your plan. Let me see here. Give me a second, folks. Move or transfer service. So let me just. Many times it has to do with your location. Still though, but you know where I'm trying to go with this. I currently have 25 down, and I'm paying $25 a month for it. If I want 100 down and 100 up, chances are it's going to cost me about $100 a month. Why the fuck would I go from paying $25 a month to $100 a month just so a streaming console can do the same shit that a local console can do? Streaming does not enhance your gaming experience. This Google streaming console, in my opinion, will not, in terms of performance and entertainment value, it will not do anything more than what a traditional console would do. You buy a physical copy of, say, yeah, streaming for gaming is garbage. So, like, I'll use a hell. You know what? I'll give you 2 scenarios. Okay, the first scenario is you buy a physical copy of Spider-Man, you download it into the console, and that's it. Play the game. It's going to, in all likelihood, it's going to run good because it is a single-player game that does not need to be connected to a network in order for you to play it. So the game is probably going to run smoothly. Now, why the fuck would you go from, paying $100 a month for internet, and then we got this net neutrality bullshit looming over our head where they can throttle your internet and fuck up the experience? Why the fuck would I, pay $100 a month and have to deal with those kind of obstacles to be able to play a game like Spider-Man and stream it? Yeah, it would be crazy. And then PLO now, and then take the different scenario. Take another scenario with a game like Black Ops or Battlefield, trying to play multiplayer. You want to stream a game like that and try to like stream all that 4K bullshit and all that shit, all that detail and all that shit, and then stream and then try to play the game multiplayer? You might need more than 100 megs to do that shit. And it would cost you even more money. Why the fuck would I do that? The way things are sitting right now with me having a traditional console, I download Battlefield 5 into my PS4, and if it came down to it, I could probably still play online, even with an internet speed as low as 6 megs. I was doing it when I first moved into this apartment. When I first moved into this apartment, DSL was the only internet that was available. I had it had a speed of 6 megs down and I think 1 meg up. And I was getting by on that. And the only compromise was I couldn't do a bunch of shit at once. I couldn't play online and then try to watch a YouTube video at the same time. I couldn't do it. But I was still gaming wise, I was still getting by on an internet connection that slow. But that being said, even with the current PS4, playing a game like Battlefield 5, you could probably still get by playing the game online where the internet speed is slow. Yeah, I remember using dial-up too. I used dial-up on the internet on the Sega Dreamcast. I'm talking DSL, where it was supposed to be like the first form of like broadband as we know it, but you still had to do it through your phone. Point being is currently right now, you could probably still play a lot of the games on the Xbox and on the PS4 where the speed as low as 6 megs down. Why the fuck would you jump up? Why the fuck would you jump up to 300 megs so you could have the same experience through a streaming console? Why the fuck would you put yourself in a situation where you paying $50 a month to probably paying $150 a month to get the same experience out of a local console? Why would you do that? Yeah, I agree with you, Spartan Guy, that they want control. That's them. But what does it do for me? Mr. Marius, what's going on? What does it do for me? What does streaming do for me? What? I mean, y'all gonna make me snap again. The last time I had this conversation, I went the fuck off, watching how their Xbox responded to this shit, jumping on board with this streaming bullshit. And when you try to throw it in their face about how this shit doesn't make sense, their only reasoning was, well, Sony's gonna do it. Nintendo's gonna do it. Sony's gonna do it. Get the fuck out of here with that. I mean, that like y'all motherfuckers gonna make me snap. Streaming is not the best way to play games, and you don't get true specs, 4K TV will give you. Streaming has its benefits, but its negatives far outweigh its positives. Now, look, I did the PS Now, and I did the PS Now trial. I played Mortal Kombat 10, or it might have been Mortal Kombat 9. I think it might have been Mortal Kombat 9. I played Mortal Kombat 9 on the PS4 using PS9, using PS Now. And at the time, I had an internet speed of 12 megs down, and I think maybe 2 megs up. And it was god awful. The lag was absolutely awful. The lag was so bad that instead of trying to play Mortal Kombat on PS Now, my son and I jumped up at that very moment and we went to GameStop and we bought a used Xbox 360 and bought a copy of Mortal Kombat 9 so he would be able to play the game without the lag. What's up, Blue? You said, Christopher Hart, you said now some Xbox fans have truly said they're not into it. Watch, as we get closer to this shit, they're going to be right back in there. I mean, PLO, from a gaming standpoint, I see no positives about streaming from a gaming aspect. Take what Zaire said, for instance. To get optimal performance out of that Google console, you're going to need an internet speed of 25 up and 25 down. The average person gets about a little over 1 terabyte of data per month. Using, when you need a speed of 25 up and 25 down, if you game day and night and then you watch YouTube day and night, and then if you take it a step further and you watch cable TV and you stream your cable channels and shit like that, just how fast are you going to go through your data cap? In this day and age, I am trying to get as little devices as possible to have to rely on the internet. Said fighting games will always have lag no matter what speed you have. Then it's even worse with streaming. Then you know it's worse with streaming. And I mean, the only benefit is not needing to purchase expensive hardware. But like I said, the negatives, see what you pay for it in the long run, PLO, when you have to upgrade to an internet package that's fast enough to make this thing perform right. It's a trade-off. Okay, so Microsoft comes out with a 100% streaming box, and let's say they sell this thing as cheap as $100. But you're gonna have to but the internet connection you're gonna need to be able to run this thing properly, you're probably gonna be spending $100 to $150 a month. And in my case, I'm paying $25 a month on a promo. Wanye Tuda, what is up? Right now, as I said before, I have an internet speed of 25 down. I'm paying $25 a month until this promo runs out, and then it's probably going to jump up to like $50 a month. Still, $50 a month. But I decided to go buy this streaming console, and I got to jump up to 100 up, 100 down to make this thing run right. And still have enough overhead to be able to run the other devices in my apartment. I need 25 up, 25 down just to run that Google console. But I still need overhead. I still need speed to be able to watch YouTube. I still need speed, if I'm watching cable TV to stream those channels. And that shit gonna eat through your fucking data cap so goddamn fast. That PC, that gaming PC that I just bought, nearly killed my internet. It nearly killed my data cap in 72 hours. I downloaded Gears of War 4, which was 113 gigs. I downloaded Rainbow Six, which I already had on the PlayStation and the Xbox. I bought it for the PC. It was already 64 gigs. The shit now has an update of 34 gigs. And then on top of the Rainbow Six game, there was some kind of Rainbow Six test server that came along with it that downloaded to my PC. And that was another 64 gigs. Just those 3 games right there alone was almost 300 gigs. Almost 30% of my data cap within 72 hours was ate up. 30% of my data cap was ate up that quick. Now you want to go buy a console that's going to require you to have a speed of 25 up and down on top of the shit that you already have in your place that runs off of the internet, that runs off the internet like it's gasoline. Now you're going to bring in a device that requires premium gas. I'm good. They can keep that shit. Yeah, Spartan God. I watched the majority of that of Hard Eight exposing BG. What's up, Rafe? What's going on with you? Truth be told, Spartan God, you know, all that shit that was going on over there. I mean, Hard Eight went in on BG. Truth be told, by the time I heard of Hard Eight, you know, and I stumbled across a couple of his videos. I think the first video that I saw from Hard Eight happened right around that time that he said, "Oh boy, try to dox him." So the shit was already flying when I found Hard Eight. And truth be told, I had never watched the Weapon Wheel podcast because I was not interested in watching the Weapon Wheel podcast. I was only watching Hard Eight. So I would say that the man has a legitimate reason to believe that he was the person that everybody came to see in Weapon Wheel. So no, I mean, Hard Eight was the only one out of that. You know, I found Hard Eight. If I would have found Weapon Wheel first, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how I would have, you know, viewed that, but I found Hard Eight first. I liked his shit. I done dibbled and dabbled in a couple of those Weapon Wheel podcasts before, but for the most part, I wasn't interested in them. I liked watching Hard Eight shit. And with him gone from the Weapon Wheel, I don't have any reason to watch it. You know, I don't want to go. I don't care what the podcast is. I'm not interested in going into a podcast and listening to some of these Xbots say a lot of this delusional shit. If they being realistic about the Xbox, cool. Then I might be willing to listen to them. But if they spitting delusional shit, knowing that there's a situation over there and acting like it's still the hottest thing since sliced bread, no, I don't want to hear they shit. You know, sometimes some of the shit the Kid Smooth say he might as well buddy up with Cody Eastwood. You said the Weapon Wheel podcast spoke on Hard Eight last night. Hard Eight responded this morning. See, like I said, you know, I ain't interested in anything the Weapon Wheel's got to say. Yeah, I know Weapon Wheel is mixed with Xbox and PS4. I don't even know if Kid Smooth is still with Weapon Wheel or not. But I do know that if I did watch the Weapon Wheel podcast, Kid Smooth would be one of the people that I would not be interested in listening to because I've seen him say some delusional shit before. I don't have anything against him, but you know, you said Weapon Wheel is lame to me. He made it entertaining, to be honest. I don't know why Smooth is on there. He better than them. Yeah, it might be, you know, might be time for him to break loose and go ahead and do his own shit. But no, I got no interest in watching Weapon Wheel, so I had no idea that Weapon Wheel said something about him yesterday. But I'm not surprised that they did say something about him because earlier last week, Hard Eight was trying to set the record straight between him and BG. And based on the shit that he was saying, yeah, of course, you know, I wasn't surprised that Weapon Wheel was going to respond. And if everything that he say is true about BG, about his ego and all the shit that he orchestrated and stuff like that, I guess it was a given that they were going to respond. It is what it is. But just like I am with all the other beefs, if I knew Hard Eight personally and I knew everybody on Weapon Wheel personally, I would stay out of it. I would be neutral. I think your channel can't grow if you're beefing with people. You know, it's no secret that YouTubers that I'm friends with have had differences in opinions and whatnot, but I remain neutral throughout that. And I think because of that, I'm still cool with everybody. And that's the way I want it. You know, I was like, because I think when you take a side, when you take a side, you're going to gain the support of some people, but you're going to lose the support of some people. And I'm not trying to get caught up in no shit like that. You know, and if you've been listening to my podcast, I think the last, I don't know, I probably say one of the people that I probably went out of, that I broke my back to try to like put his name in my mouth was probably Crap Gamer. And if you want to say that I was clout chasing back then, I wouldn't argue that, because the dude like only had like a couple, like 150 subscribers or some shit like that. I'm a nobody. So for me to put his name in my mouth, you know, makes it look like I'm clout chasing. We all know what Crap Gamer is about, you know, and there ain't no point in me, you know, making podcasts talking about this dude and shit like that, you know, because I wouldn't tell y'all anything that y'all don't already know about the dude. So, you know, my fight is against corporations and shit like that, like Microsoft and EA and Bethesda and shit like that, who, you know, trying to fuck people up with, you know, with their egregious methods. So if Crap Gamer make a video today where he's saying some wild ass shit, is whatever. You ain't gonna hear me say anything about it. You ain't gonna hear me respond to it. Or Code Eastwood or whatever. But if Microsoft do something crazy, you gonna hear me say something about it. You know, some of the bullshit that Crap Gamer and Code Eastwood and stuff like that says does not affect me as a gamer. Some of the shit that Microsoft does, or even some of the shit that Sony does, can affect me as a gamer. So if they pull some shit, I'm gonna say something. You know, it's just in the case of Microsoft, they pull way more shit than Sony, and they tell way more lies than Sony, and that's the difference. You know, Sony's no angel; they just not near as fucked up as Microsoft. I've been on about an hour and a half. I need to get my ass to the gym and get this over with so I can come back and play some games. Where the fuck is my phone? Let me check on my PC. Yesterday it was in transit. Okay, whoa, let's go here. PC Geek Squad repair. So, yep, the status is it is in transit. It was shipped out yesterday at noon. Said your tracking number is blah 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 blah. Oh, okay. They gave me a UPS tracking number. Shipment ready for UPS. God damn, this computer's going to Kentucky. It's going to Brooks, Kentucky. And it says shipment ready for UPS. doesn't have a scheduled delivery. Shipment progress. So a label was created for it yesterday. It did not ship yet. Service UPS second day air. So it should reach them sometime this week. So I suspect that it should reach them in the next few days. Says Smokey Dog is going to fix your PC, Lincoln. Whoever fix it, as long as the shit comes back, doing like it was when I first bought it. So it is what it is. If Smokey Dogs ends up fixing it, I'll send them a thank you. Yep, that's all I got. My voice is starting to get a little bit raspy and scratchy and shit like that. So I guess that's the cue for me to go ahead and shut my trap and get ready for the gym. And I mean, as it is, shit, I'm already working on 2 hours that I've been on here. Top Dog, they are fixing it. They made that clear to me when I bought the warranty that if anything happens, they will fix it first. And if they cannot fix it, they will repair it. They will replace it. With that being said, when I get the PC back, I am going to try to kill it again through normal means, through normal wear and tear. So after it's a situation where it ends up coming back to them 2 or 3 times, and that gives me a leg to stand on when I tell them I want a new computer because this one just doesn't, this one seems to have problems. Great. You said I saw Xbox wasn't getting JRPG. I assume you mean Japanese role-playing games. They ain't interested in that. And truth be told, part of that is of their own making because Phil Spencer told them what kind of games they should want. He told them they should want multiplayer games, and that's what they want. Hey, Diver, shut the fuck up. The only thing, Diver, that would be more refreshing than getting my PC back is beating the fuck out of you in that ring again. Well, fucker. Yeah. Fact of the matter is, when I beat your ass a few weeks ago, I didn't see the point in fucking with you again because it wasn't a competition. But on a day like today, I would fight you just so I could beat the fuck out of your face. You ain't here with me, so what better thrill it would be to beat the fuck out your face in VR? With that being said, when you want that smoke, come get that shit again. You said you got 2 Mario games for $85 from that Mario 10 sale. Okay, that's what's up. I think that games are overpriced, but it is what it is. I think that game should retail for $50 or $45. I mean, with these Mario games, to me, it seems like you're getting the same shit over and over again, and they still paying you, and people still paying $60 for it. Oops. Yeah, but that's you said let's go. When you want to do it? When you want to do it, Diver? Wanya, you said no, Lincoln. They changed the formula, evolve on it. Yeah. We give you a second to answer, Diver, so you can give me a specific time when you want this ass whooping before I go ahead and shut the stream down. To 660 Wii U remake. Mm-hmm. Tomorrow? All right, you can get that smoke tomorrow. That'll work. Now that we got that out of the way, let me go ahead and shut the stream down. So we'll go ahead and get on out of here. Y'all know what to do. Give it a like. Shit, share it. I'm not in Wakanda today, so I can't necessarily say lock the door on your way out or whatever the case may be, because we're not in Wakanda today. So give it a like. And I'm gonna get on out of here, get ready to go to this gym, and I'll try to do a Creed stream or something like that to wrap up my workout for the day. Go ahead and get in there and hit this gym, go ahead and crank some of this iron, and come home and do a Creed stream to finish my night off with some cardio. So no promises, but keep an eye out for me this evening to do a Creed stream. And if I don't do it tonight, if Diver can if he can keep his word, then I'll beat the fuck out of him tomorrow for y'all entertainment. All right, cuz. I'll catch you later, Diver. All right, I will catch the rest of y'all later. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. I'll holler at y'all later.